Hello everyone, I am Muid Ahmed Siddiqui with another live online session of CIMA P1 exam. In the previous classes, in the last two classes, I explained these two approaches of traditional cost accounting. One is the absorption costing and the other is the marginal costing. The difference between the two approaches is that absorption costing values inventories on the basis of full production costs, so absorption costing, uh, when valuing inventory, adds fixed production overheads to the cost of inventory or to the value of inventory, whereas marginal costing values inventories only on the basis of variable production costs. And to determine contribution in marginal costing, we deduct all the variable cost from the sales revenue to get contribution. And then all the fixed costs are subtracted as a period expense to get the net profit in marginal costing. But in absorption costing, we take only production costs. We, or you can say, we subtract production costs, all the production cost from the sales revenue to get the gross profit. And all the non-production costs are treated as a period expense in absorption costing. So you can see, you can easily understand the difference between the two approaches. And one more thing, in absorption costing, often we need to make an adjustment for under or over absorbed overheads. That's when our budgeted production differs from the actual production. Over or under absorption of overhead arises, and an adjustment is made to either reduce the profit or to increase the profit. In case of under absorption, what happens that in under absorption means that the estimated, you can say that the estimated expense was less than the actual expense. So an under absorption means that we reduce, an under absorption of overhead means we need to reduce our profits, and an over absorption means that we need to increase our actual profit. So these were the few key points that I explained in my last two classes that I took online. So in tonight's session, in the last class, I also did some MCQs. I also showed some multiple choice questions, or you can say OTQs, from the CIMA P1 Kaplan Kit of traditional costing chapter. Now, in tonight's class, I will continue with the same, with the same topic, with the same chapter, and I will continue to solve questions like I did in the last class. So here I have a question number 10. Yes, this one, question number 10. Now, this question is based on the same principles that I discussed a few moments ago, that I explained a few moments ago. And in this question, we are required to calculate profit under absorption costing, and the information is given here. All the information is given here. Using this information, what we are required to do, we are required to calculate profit for the period using absorption costing. Now, so here in this question, you need to understand, or you need to keep in mind that in absorption, the main difference between the two approaches, the absorption costing and the marginal costing, is that in absorption costing, we absorb overheads to products, we absorb production overheads to products, whereas in marginal costing, we do not do so. In marginal costing, we only deduct variable costs from the sales revenue to get the contribution, and inventories are valued at the variable production costs. So keeping this point in mind, you need to solve this question. You need to solve this question. So here I am giving you a few minutes time to look at the question. uh, just read this question while I take a break of 2 minutes. Just read this question, and when I will come back, I'll solve this question in front of you to make things more clear, for you. So please read this question. I am giving you 2 minutes time here. Okay, I hope that you have read this question, you have looked at this question during the break. Now I will solve this question in front of you. I'll tell you how to solve this question, what to do in this question. Okay, then. Now, the main thing, the first thing, okay, the first thing, production during the period. How many units were produced? 2000 units were produced. 2000 units were produced. Okay. And how many units were sold? 1800 units were sold. This means that the closing inventory, there was no inventory at the beginning of the period. There was no opening inventory. There was no opening inventory. Opening inventory was zero. 2000 units were produced. Out of these 2000, 1800 were sold. How much will be the closing inventory? The closing inventory should be, sir, 200 units. 200 units should be left at the end of the accounting period in stock, since 2000 were produced and out of which 1800 were sold. Okay, then. So 200 units, the company should be left with 200 units at the end of the accounting period. So what? Now we need to value these units of inventory. We need to value these units of inventory. So in absorption costing, we take all the production costs. In absorption costing, these are all the production costs, and these are all the production costs. These three are the production costs. Absorption costing takes all the production cost for valuation of inventory, and these are the three production costs. So, and these costs were incurred to produce how many units? 2000 units. So how much should be, what should be the value of each unit of inventory? Just add up these three: 13,500 plus 11,800 plus 32,400. Add up these three. What will you get? What will you get by adding these three? You will get 32,400. You will get 57,700. Okay, now you will get 57,700. This is the total cost of production. And how many units were produced? 2000 units were produced. Divide this big figure by 2000 to get a unit value for inventory. Divided by 2000, each unit of inventory should be valued at $28.85. $28.85. So Each unit of inventory should be valued at $28.85. Okay, then. So now let's prepare an income statement. Let's prepare an income statement under absorption costing. Under absorption costing. Question number 10. We are dealing with question number 10. Okay. Sales. How much is the sales? The sales during the period was the total sales during the period, which sells for $45 per unit. Each unit sells for $45 per unit. And how many units were sold? 1800 units were sold. Okay. Now 1800 units were sold, each unit for $45. So the total revenue will be how much? 1800 multiplied by 45, $81,000. Okay, now less cost of sales. Opening inventory was nil. How much was the production? How many units were produced? 2000 units were produced, and each unit was worth how much? Each unit was $28.85. This is the value of each unit of inventory. Now, from the production, we will deduct what? We will deduct less closing inventory. 1800 no, oh, the closing inventory is how much? 200 multiply by 28.85. Okay. So how much should be the production cost? 2000 multiply by 28.85, and the value of closing inventory should be how much? 200 multiply by 28.85. Yes, this is the value of closing inventory. So what will be the cost of sales? Cost of sales or cost of goods sold is how much? Is minus, oh sorry, Mm, yes, 51,930. So the gross profit that we will get in absorption costing is 29,070. Last but not least, we will subtract all the non-production costs. All the non-production costs. Non-production costs. How much are the non-production costs? Non-production costs are 21,900. 21,900. Okay, then. So the answer that we will get, the profit that absorption costing will report is 7,170. This is the profit, the net profit reported by absorption costing. So this is the net profit reported by absorption costing. Okay, then. Now, so this is how we calculate profit under absorption costing. Is there anything that you need to ask till this point? You can ask me if there is anything that you need to ask till this point, anything that is causing trouble, that you are finding difficult. Please let me know. You can let me know by writing in the chat box, or you can also ask me to unmute you so that you can ask your question audibly. Please let me know if there is anything that you need to ask. Yes, anything, any problem, any trouble with this approach, anything that you need to ask, please let me know by writing in the chat box. You can also ask me to unmute you. Yes, anything. Nicey? Anything that you need to ask? Admire Zoom user. Anything that you need to ask till this point? Anything that you need to understand that is causing trouble? Anything? Yes. Is there anything that you need to ask? Please let me know. Okay. Now let's move further. Let's move forward. So it was question number 10. Moving forward, we have okay. Now, yes, Nicey, is there any problem? Anything? Please write in the chat box if there is anything that you need to ask. If there is anything that you are finding difficult, please let me know. Okay, thank you, Nicey. Okay, then. Now, here I have another question. Question number 12. Question number 12. Another question from this question is very much this is in fact the same question, but it requires you to calculate profit under marginal costing instead of absorption costing. I hope that you can do this question yourself from the previous question. You can do this question from your knowledge of the previous question. You can easily do this question. This question requires you to calculate profit in marginal costing, not absorption costing. So the same information is given. Same information is given. The only difference is that you need to calculate profit under marginal costing. Now, as I told you, the difference between the two approaches, again, you have to bear in mind the difference between the two approaches, the marginal and the absorption costing. Absorption costing requires you to add an overhead, add production overheads to the values of inventory, to the value of inventory. Whereas marginal costing values inventories only on the basis of variable costs. Now, in this question, we are not told if this production overhead, we are not told whether this production overhead is variable or fixed. Okay. We are not told, we are not given any information about the variability or the we are not told that this production overhead is either variable or fixed. So in this question, by this information, it is quite obvious that these two are the variable costs, material cost and the labor cost. These two are the variable costs. These two are the variable costs. These two are the variable costs. And since we are required to calculate profit under marginal costing, we are required to calculate profits under marginal costing. What we will do, we will just take variable costs. We will take these two costs to value inventory. So I will be uh, uh, I will be really glad to see you tell me how much would each unit of inventory cost in marginal costing in this question. How will we value each unit of inventory in marginal costing? We are given this information. So please calculate yourself. Calculate yourself. Do it yourself. Tell me how much each unit of inventory will cost. How much each unit of inventory will cost. 2000 units of inventory, 2000 units of inventory are produced, and the variable cost, we are given the variable costs, these two variable costs, material cost and the direct labor cost. We are given with these two variable costs. So how much will each unit of inventory cost in marginal costing? Please tell me. I am giving you a few minutes time. Think over it. Okay, I am giving you 1 minute here. I am giving you 1 minute here. Just, yes. Please find out the value of each unit of inventory in marginal costing. Yes, nice. 12.65. Admire has calculated it as 12.65. Let me check. 13,500 plus 11,800 and divided it by. Yes, very good answer. Very good answer. Yes, Admire. Very good answer. Okay. So how do we calculate? How did Admire arrive at this answer? How did Admire get 12.65? Let me tell you. Just add up these two costs. These are the variable costs. Add up these two costs, 13,500 and 11,800. You will get 25,300. Divide this 25,300 by the number of units produced, that is 2,000. And you will get answer as $12.65 per unit. So this is the value of each unit of inventory, 12.65. This is the value of each unit of inventory under marginal costing. This is marginal costing unit of this is marginal costing value of one unit of inventory. So now let's prepare an income statement under marginal costing. Everything will remain the same. Nearly everything will remain the same. The sales will be the same. The sales revenue will remain the same as above. But the only thing that will change is the inventory, the values of inventories, the value of production, and the value of closing inventory. Okay, let's deduct cost of sales. Okay, now production, how much is the production? 2,000 units were produced, and each unit, the cost of each unit we calculated as 12.65. This was the cost of each unit, and the closing inventory. Okay, 200 units were left in the closing inventory, and each unit will be valued at 12.65. So what we will get, minus, okay, is equal to minus 200 multiplied by 12.65. Mm, no, in fact, so the cost of sale under marginal costing will change. The cost of sale will change as the values of inventories have changed. This is the cost of sale. How much should be the contribution? How much should be the contribution? In marginal costing, we have contribution as opposed to gross profit. Gross profit is in absorption costing, but in marginal costing, we have contribution. So the contribution that we will get is 58,230. And finally, we will deduct all the fixed costs. Finally, we will deduct all the fixed costs, less all the fixed costs. Okay. Production costs and the non-production costs as a period expense. Production costs and the non production costs as the period expense. How much are the production costs? Production overheads are 32,400. Non-production overheads are 21,900. 32,400 and 21,900. So as a result, we will get what? We will get a total fixed cost of 54,300. Yes, this is the total fixed cost. And here it is good to mention the total fixed cost. So the net profit, I am coming to your question. Just wait a minute. The net profit will be contribution minus contribution minus total fixed cost, that is 54,300. So the net profit in marginal costing is how much? Marginal costing is 3,930. Okay. Now we, I think we have a question. Is there? Yes. Anything that you need to ask? Any question? Any question? Yes. So this is how we arrived at the net profit in marginal costing. This is actually the profit statement under marginal costing, and you can clearly see the difference between the two. That difference has arisen because of the valuation in inventory, because of the way inventory is valued under the two approaches. In absorption costing, we take fixed, we took production overheads, we added production overheads to the values of inventories. But in marginal costing, we only took the two variable costs, the material cost and the labor cost. Now there is one more thing that you need to understand, that examiner can easily divide this production overhead, can easily divide this production overhead into variable, into two parts, into variable and fixed, into variable overheads and fixed overheads. So if you are faced with a question, if you are faced with a question that in which you are given the variable production overheads and you are also given the fixed production overheads, then please do not panic. Don't be afraid, because if you are given variable production overheads, then you will have to add the variable costs, the variable production overhead here in these costs. What you will do, if you are given variable production overhead, then you will include variable production overhead in the inventory valuation. You will include, in that case you will include variable production overhead in inventory valuation. So variable production overhead cost will be added to these two costs. Variable production overhead cost will be added to the other variable costs for inventory valuation. Now is that clear? Is there anything that you need to ask till this point? Anything in this point that you are finding difficult, that you are finding daunting? Please let me know anything that you need to ask. Are you clear about this point, the variable production overheads and the fixed production overhead point? Yes. Is it clear? The variable production overhead point and the fixed production overhead point. Is it clear? Yes. Anything that you need to ask? Okay. Let me move forward. Hmm. We are done with question number 12. Okay. Yes, I did question number 13 in the previous class. I did question number 14 in the previous class. You can see these videos. You can easily get these videos from my YouTube channel. I have also shared these videos in the WhatsApp groups as well. Now, question number 16. in this question, the main thing that you need to do, the main step that you need to solve is the reapportionment of overheads. You need to reapportion overheads of the two service departments to the assembly and the finishing department. You need to reapportion overheads of the assembly department and the maintenance department to the other two departments, the assembly and the finishing. Stores, in fact, stores, you need to reapportion these overheads. You need to reapportion these overheads to these two departments, and you need to reapportion these overheads to these three departments. Reapportion maintenance overheads to these three departments, and reapportion the total overheads to these two departments, assembly and finishing. Once you are done with the reapportionment, then you will determine an overhead absorption rate, and you will find out the over or under absorption of overheads. This is all you need to do in this question. So here I am giving you, again I am giving you some time. I am giving you a couple of minutes time, as I am feeling a little bit exhausted. I am giving you 2 minutes time to read the question, and when I will come back from the break, I will solve this question in front of you, question number 16. So please, here I will become silent and I will just allow you to read the question. Read this question, and when I'll come back after 2 minutes, I will solve this question in front of you. Okay, I hope that you have gone through the question during the break, and now I will solve this question in front of you. So, as I told you earlier, we are required to actually reapportion the overheads to different departments. Stores and maintenance, these are the two service departments providing services to the other departments. Maintenance department provides services to stores, finishing and assembly, and stores departments provides and stores department provide services to assembly and finishing, the these two departments, the assembly and the finishing. So now let's do this question. Let's look at the reapportionment. Let's reapportion the overheads first. The first department that we have is assembly. The second is the finishing. Third is the stores. And fourth is the maintenance. Okay, these are the four departments that we have. And the overheads of these four departments, assembly, 100,000 overheads are allocated to assembly, 150 to finishing, 50,000 to stores, and 40 to maintenance. Okay, 100,000 to assembly. Then the finishing, how much is the finishing? 150,000 to finishing. Speaking of stores, we have 50,000 for stores and 40,000 for maintenance. 50,000 to stores and 40,000 to maintenance. Okay, now, so first we will reapportion maintenance department's overheads. First, we will reapportion maintenance department's overheads, since maintenance department is providing its services to the other three. So, reapportionment of maintenance. Reapportionment of maintenance. Okay, reapportionment of maintenance overheads. Just subtract this 40,000 from here and add the proportion of overheads that needs to be apportioned to the other three departments. So in the question we are told that maintenance provides services to the production and service departments, 40% to assembly. Maintenance provides 40% of its services to the assembly, 45% to the finishing, and 15 to stores. So 40% to assembly. We need to, this means that 40% of overheads of 40,000, 40% of this 40,000 should go to assembly. 45% to finishing. So 45% of this 40,000, 0.45 of this 40,000 should go to finishing, and the remaining 15% should be added to the stores department. Okay. So here we have reapportioned overheads. We have reapportioned overheads of maintenance to the other three departments. Now we need to reapportion overheads of stores department. We need to reapportion overheads of stores department to assembly and to finishing. Okay, I think, okay, this is not necessary. This line here is not necessary at all. So now let's reapportion stores to assembly and finishing. How much work stores perform for assembly and finishing? 60%. Store performs 60% of its services for assembly and 40% for finishing. This means that out of this 56,000, 60% should go to assembly. 60% should go to assembly department, and 40% should go to the finishing department. So This is the reapportionment of stores. Okay, this is the reapportionment of stores. Now, so the total of assembly, this is the total, these are the total overheads reapportioned or reallocated to the assembly department, and the total of finishing department's overheads will become 190,400. So these are the total overheads actually reapportioned and allocated to the assembly and the finishing department. 149,600 for the assembly and 190,400 for the finishing. Now, let's look at the requirement. At the end of the year, after apportioning the service department overhead, the total fixed production overhead debited to the assembly department fixed production overhead control account were how much? Were 180,000. These were actually the overheads. These were actually the overheads incurred. These were actually the overheads incurred by the assembly department. But this figure here represents the budgeted overheads. This figure here represents actually the budgeted overheads for the assembly department. These are the budgeted overheads. These are the budgeted overheads. We calculate overhead absorption rate OAR on the basis of budgeted overheads. So how will we calculate budgeted overhead absorption rate? We will take this figure and we will divide it by the budgeted production, that is 100,000, divided by 100,000. So the budgeted, the OAR, this is the overhead absorption rate. Overhead absorption rate is 1.496. This is the overhead absorption rate. On the basis of this rate, on the basis of this absorption rate and the actual activity level, we absorb overheads. We absorb overheads. We will find out absorb overheads or the amount of overheads that we absorbed for the assembly department. So the actual output achieved, how much is the actual activity level? The actual activity level is 120,000. So absorbed overheads will become how much overheads, how much overheads should have been absorbed. Absorbed overheads will be how much? Will be 120,000 units multiplied by this overhead absorption rate, that is 1.496. Okay, 120,000 multiplied by 1.496. Okay, these are our absorbed overheads. This is the amount of overheads absorbed. So to find the over or under absorption, what do we need to what do we need to deduct? What do we need to subtract from this figure? What do we need to subtract from this figure? Please let me know by writing in the chat box. Please let me know what should be subtracted. What should be subtracted from this figure to get an over or under absorption of overheads? What should be subtracted? Okay, the question is in front of you. What should be subtracted? Absorbed, these are the absorbed overheads. Yes, the actual overheads incurred. And how much are the actual overheads? The question is in front of you. Tell me, how much are the actual overheads incurred? The amount of actual overheads. How much is the amount of actual overheads? I told you. How much is the amount of actual overheads? Think over it. How much is the amount of actual overheads? Yes, very good answer. This is the amount of actual overheads, because this is the amount debited to the fixed production overhead control account. And in ledger accounts, we take only the actual figures. So this is the actual amount of overhead incurred, $180,000. Okay, is this amount, or tell me whether these actual overheads are greater than or less than the absorbed overheads. Are actual overheads more than or less than the absorbed overhead? Compare these two figures and let me know whether the overheads are under absorbed or over absorbed. Okay, actual overheads are more than the absorbed overheads. What does this mean? Absorbed overheads are less or absorbed overheads are more than the actual overheads? Yes, under absorbed. Under absorbed. Overheads are under absorbed. Why? Because absorbed overheads do not exceed. Absorbed overheads do not exceed. Absorbed overheads are less than the actual overheads. So the overheads are under absorbed. Overheads are under absorbed. And by how much amount the overheads are under absorbed? Just take the difference of these two figures. So overheads are under absorbed by $480. So we were required to calculate under or over absorption of overheads, and the answer appears to be an under absorption of overheads by $480. This is the correct answer, my friends. So now, is this clear? Is everything clear to you? Anything that you need to ask in this question, question number 16? Is there anything that you need to ask in question number 16? Yes, please let me know by writing in the chat box anything that seems difficult, that appears to be difficult till now, till this point. Anything? Yes, please. Anything that seems difficult, that appears to be difficult. Now, this is a chapter that should not pose you many problems, that should not cause you trouble, because this chapter is based much of the part of this chapter is based on your previous knowledge of paper BA2. If I am not wrong, I have not gone through that paper. I have not seen paper BA2 yet, but I am pretty much sure that you should have studied many concepts from many concepts at the BA2 level. If I am not wrong, you should have studied many concepts at the BA2 level. You should have studied many concepts. Am I right? Am I right? Please write in the chat box. Am I right? You are pretty much aware. You have a good knowledge of absorption and marginal costing from your previous studies. Is that correct? Am I right? Please let me know by writing in the chat box. Yes. So it seems like this is something not very strange to you. You are already familiar with the concepts of uh, the traditional costing approaches. Okay. So this was question number 16. Let's move forward. Now, this is a question number 17. This is a good question. This is a very good question. I am not telling you anything right now about this question number 17. Just take this question as a homework. just take this question as a homework. Do it, try to do it yourself, and if you find anything difficult, I will let you know. Just tell me if you are finding it difficult. Let me know and I will sort it out for you. Okay then. Okay, so the last question of tonight's class, question number 18. GH produces three models of a speedboat for sale to the retail market. GH currently operates a standard absorption costing system. Budgeting information for next year is given below. Superior, Deluxe, Ultra. And here we are given the production and sales of each type of speedboat, of each model of speedboat, in fact, and we are given the machine hours that it takes to manufacture one boat. The production overhead cost is absorbed, and we are told that the production overhead cost is absorbed on the basis of machine hours. And we are required to calculate gross profit using absorption costing. So uh, just read this question once. It is not a very difficult question. All you need to do actually is to find out how much of the production overhead will be absorbed to uh, the deluxe model of the speedboat. And once you figure out once you calculate the amount that will be absorbed to the deluxe model, you will simply have to subtract the three figures: direct material, direct labor, and the amount of production overhead absorbed from the sales revenue to arrive at the gross profit. This is not a very difficult task, should not be a very difficult task for you. just uh, just read this question, take your time, uh, just take a minute, to read this question. And when I will come back here, I am taking a minute I am taking 1 minute break, because I am feeling a little bit tired at this moment, please. So allow me just 1 minute break, and when I will come back, I will solve this question in front of you. Okay, so before taking break, I put question number 18 in front of you. Okay, so the first thing I told you about this question, that the main thing that we need to do is to absorb overheads to is to find out what amount of overheads will be absorbed to deluxe model of speedboats. So the first thing that we actually need to calculate here is the total number of machine hours. Total number of machine hours. As we are told that overheads are absorbed on the basis of machine hours, we need to find out the total machine hours. How will we calculate? How will we calculate? Okay, 1000 superior, the number of boats manufactured, the number of superior boats manufactured is how much? Is 1000, and each boat takes 100 hours. So 1000 multiplied by 100. Then deluxe, 1200 deluxe boats, 1200 deluxe boats are manufactured, and each boat takes 200 machine hours. Ultra, 800 ultra boats are produced, and each boat takes 300 hours. So this is how will we calculate the total number of machine hours. 1000 superior boats, 1200 deluxe boats, 800 ultra boats, and multiplying the number of boats by the machine hours taken by each boat, we will get total number of machine hours. Is that clear? Anything that you need to ask in this point? Anything that you need to ask? Just find out the total machine hours in this way. As I have written in front of you, find out the total machine hours in this way. Please work out the machine hours in this way. How much are the total machine hours? The figure that I am getting for the total machine hours is how much? Is 580,000. These are the total machine hours. 364,000. No, admire. You got it wrong. Total machine hours are 580,000. You should be mistaking somewhere. Check out. Find out. Where are you mistaking? Yes, nice. You calculated. You found out the correct answer. 580,000. The machine hours are how many machine hours? 580,000. Yes, 580,000. These are the total machine hours. These are the total machine hours. Okay. Now, overheads are absorbed. These overheads are absorbed on the basis of these machine hours. These machine hours. Now, here, these overheads, the overheads are given rounded to the thousand, rounded to the nearest thousand. So, what we will do? We will take the figure to the nearest thousand. So instead of 580,000, we will make it just 580. When we will round it to the nearest thousand, we will take 580 instead of 580,000. And here we are given numbers rounded to the nearest thousand. So overhead absorption rate. How will we calculate overhead absorption rate? We will take the production overheads. We will take the production overheads as given in the question, and we will divide it by the total machine hours that we just computed. So the production overheads, how much are the production overheads given in the question? 69,600 divided by 580. So the overhead absorption rate, how much is the overhead absorption rate? The overhead absorption rate that we will get is $120 per machine hour. $120 per machine hour. So for each machine hour, for each, this means overheads are absorbed on the basis of machine hours. So this means that for each machine hour that deluxe takes, each machine hour that deluxe takes, we will add $120 of production overhead for that one machine hour. And now How many machine hours deluxe takes? Can you find out how many machine hours the deluxe model of the speedboat takes? Tell me how many machine hours the deluxe model of the speedboat takes. Tell me by writing in the chat box. Tell me how many machine hours does now this is for 1 unit. This is for 1 unit of this is for 1 unit of deluxe that is manufactured. But how many units are manufactured? 1200 units are manufactured. So the overall production of deluxe during the period, I am talking about the overall production of deluxe during the period, the 1200 units that are produced, how many machine hours those 1200 units took? How many machine hours those 1200 units took of the deluxe speedboat? Yes, come on, tell me. 1200 multiply by 200. Yes, 240,000 hours. Good answer. Here you can see 1200 multiply by 200. The answer is how much? The answer is 240,000. Yes. The answer is how much? The answer is 240,000 machine hours. Now, so what is the amount of production overhead that should be what is the amount of production overhead that should be that should be allocated to, that should be apportioned to the deluxe speedboat? What is the amount of, what should be the amount of overhead? Deluxe took 240,000 machine hours. Deluxe speedboat took 240,000 machine hours, and each hour each hour takes how much? The cost of each hour is how much? Is the cost of 1 hour of machine hours? What is the cost of 1 hour of machine hour? What is the cost of operating machines for 1 hour? $120. So what amount of, yes, good answer. What you did, admire, what you did, you just simply multiplied, just simply multiplied this 240,000. You just simply multiplied this 240,000 by $120. Okay. You simply multiplied this 240,000 by, yes, you simply multiplied this 240,000 by $120 to get an answer that is equal to 28.8 million. Yes, this is 28.8 million. And when you will round this figure to the nearest thousand, what will it become? It will become like this, 28,800. So we need to deduct 28,800 from this. Just take sales revenue 86,400 and subtract these three figures to get your answer. And tell me what is the answer that you are getting. Tell me the answer, please. Now you can easily now you can easily get the answer. What is the answer? How much is the answer? Yes, I am waiting for the answer. Please let me know by writing in the chat box. Yes, please. Yes, the answer is 16,800. What we did, we simply took sales revenue and subtracted these three costs from the sales revenue to get an answer that is equal to 16,800, which is the gross profit as required in the question. So is there anything that you need to ask? Yes, nice. Anything that you need to ask? Anything that you are finding difficult in this question, question number 18? Yes, nice. Anything that you need to ask? Please let me know, because this was the last question of tonight's class. Now I am about to bring the class to an end. Please, nice. Tell me by writing in the chat box. Is there anything that you need to ask? Question number 18. You want me to go over the entire question, or okay. Okay, nice. I can tell you, but in a short way. In a short way, I will tell you what we actually did. We actually reapportioned. We actually reapportioned production overhead cost. We actually reapportioned this production overhead cost to the deluxe speedboat. And how did we do that? We took So how did we do that? First of all, we are told that these overheads are absorbed on the basis of machine hours. These overheads are absorbed on the basis of machine hours. So first we found out the total machine hours. First we found out the total machine hours, and we got 580,000, the total machine hours, as our total machine hours. Then what we did, we took the production overheads, 69,600, and we divided these production overheads by the number of machine hours to get an overhead absorption rate, overhead absorption rate equal to $120 per hour. This means that for each machine hour that deluxe takes, each machine hour that deluxe takes, or each machine hour that is worked, you can say each machine hour that is worked, a cost of $120 is incurred. Now, so now, since in this question we are required to find out the gross profit of only deluxe speedboat, of only one type of the speedboat, that is deluxe. So what we did, we apportioned, we reallocated, we apportioned, or you can say we shared, we found out the share of production overheads that needs to be apportioned to the deluxe speedboat. So since overheads are absorbed on the basis of machine hours, we looked at how many machine hours are taken by the deluxe speedboat. Deluxe speedboat takes 240,000 machine hours. Deluxe speedboat actually takes 240,000 machine hours. Deluxe speedboat takes 240,000 machine hours. And how we determined that deluxe speedboat takes 240,000 machine hours? Since 1200 units of deluxe are produced and each unit takes 200 machine hours, so 1200 multiply by 200. So deluxe speedboat takes 240,000 machine hours. Now we multiply this 240,000 by overhead absorption rate, $120 per hour, to get 28.8 million. 28.8 million, the figure, the this figure that I am circling, 28,800 or 28.8 million. These are the overheads apportioned to the deluxe machine boat. So once we determined the production overheads for the deluxe speedboat, we simply subtracted these three figures from the sales revenue to get the gross profit. Now, anything that you need to ask, anything else? Nice. Is this clear? I tried to summarize it, as I have already put a lot of effort to make you understand. Yes, anything. Okay, so nice. If you are still finding it difficult, if you are still finding it difficult, you can go through this video. Recording will be made available to you, no problem. Recording will be made available to you. This is an advantage. This is the biggest advantage in my view of the online classes, that you never miss anything. And if you do, you can always go back to the recording and you can make it clear. That's it. So anything that you need to ask, I am about to bring the class to an end. Admire, anything that you need to ask, and please let me know whether you like these sessions or not, whether you like these sessions or not, or is there anything that I need to improve. If you have any feedback, you have anything in mind, please let me know, so that I can make it more, so that I can make things better for you. Please let me know. Let me know your opinion, let me know your feedback. It will be uh, quite valuable for me. It will be very much valuable for me. Please let me know your feedback. Let me know your opinion about these online classes. Okay, admire, anything that you want to say? I am about to bring the class to an end. Anything, admire? Okay, thank you. And nice, anything? Any last words from you, nice? Anything that you need to say? You need to ask anything else? Okay, so it seems like I have made a lot of things clear to both of you. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending. It was Muid Ahmed Siddiqui from Muid Accountancy. You can ask me, you can contact me via social media platforms. That's Facebook, WhatsApp, LinkedIn. I am available on these social media platforms. You can ask me for anything that you need. You can ask me for any kind of assistance that you need. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending. It was Muid Ahmed Siddiqui. And let me know if you want to register in my full course. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending. It was Muid Ahmed Siddiqui, and I will inshallah, I will see you soon, inshallah, with another live online session. In a day or two, I will I will take the next class. So I will see you soon. Stay tuned in the WhatsApp group. Stay tuned in the WhatsApp group, so that you will be informed of the next class, of the next live online class. And most of the classes, last but not least, here I would like to tell you one more thing, that most of the classes that I will take during my full course will be on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. Normally on Saturday and Sundays. Here I am taking classes, because of some reason I am taking classes during the weekdays. But in my during my full course, what will happen, I will take classes. This is actually the third live online class of my full course. But as soon as I get registrations, and once I am on track, I am on I am on a systematic track. What I will do, I will take classes. I will start taking classes on Saturdays and Sundays normally, uh, sometimes on Fridays as well. Thank you very much. Thanks for attending. It was Muid Ahmed Siddiqui from Muid Accountancy. Hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.